I tried to leave to Canada for the same reasons everyone tries to leave India for a better life. I had a small startup company in India which was running well enough for a startup which shut down when the pandemic hit. It, along with a lot of other obvious factors, made me want to leave India. I got into a college in Canada for a diploma course and left at the end of October. One thing no one told me about is the housing crisis here and the insane living expenses. These immigration agencies paint a rosy picture of this life in Canada full of opportunities and wonders where I get to work part time and pay off my living expenses and student loans while living the best life possible. That can't be further from the truth. My father is a small railway clerk. He gets decent money enough to get me a student loan, but that's it. We do not know anyone here in Canada. We have no friends or family here. The only people I know now is the people I met along the way. The college wasn't offering any accommodations, and whatever it had was full. I tried looking for rooms, and everyone's response here was basically that they'll talk when I'm in Canada. So I booked an Airbnb in Canada for 3 days, hoping to find a room during my stay there, and left with a total of 400 CAD in my HDFC Forex card. It soon became clear the kind of people who try to come here mostly consist of wealthy Indians who can more than afford a good lifestyle here. Their parents are wealthy enough to fund them well enough, and they also most likely have a family member living here. The second kind are the Indians who have some family member here and can live with them for a while until they can figure things out. People like me who have nothing and no one here are insanely rare and stupid to do something like this without proper financial backing. Indians in Canada are either the most kindest people you will find or they try to scam you. This one Punjabi guy sold me a $1 travel adapter for $11, seeing that I badly needed one, while this other Punjabi guy gave me an Uber ride for $30 for free, seeing how I was new to the city, both on the first day. Only Indians will scam you, and only Indians will be as kind to you as one can be. Seems like there's no in between. So now let's talk about the worst day of my life. By the third day in Canada, when my Airbnb stay had ended, I had talked to this old lady about renting a room in her place for $1,200 initial deposit, and this other guy for renting this other place for the same price. The plan was to go to the bank account and redeem my GIC money of $10,000, roughly 6 lakh rupees, which is the initial deposit I have to provide to Canada before I can get the visa. I wanted to pay the rent and start living there. Things already seemed shaky, but I had gone to a nearby bank the day before and they said I needed to have an appointment for that. This day, I had an appointment and I left early in the day with my total 70 kgs of luggage, everything I got from India, to travel 90 kilometers in bus to go to the bank, redeem the money, and then take the room. If things go wrong, at least I would have the money to fall back onto. My father had also sent me 1 lakh just in case something went wrong. The bus did not stop where it was supposed to. The bus driver drove way past the bus stop when I was clearly asking him to stop, and stopped somewhere far away in the next bus stop. It was a minor setback, perhaps, so I tried to take a bus back again to that stop. Waited another half an hour before the bus came, and he did the same thing again. He drove back again all over and stopped 2 stops over. Little did I know I had to pull a thin lever tied to either side, and unless I did that, he would not stop no matter how much I asked him to. I was very far in another bus stop again. By then, I had dragged my luggage across at least 1 kilometer, changed 5 buses, and I hadn't eaten the whole day. The only ray of hope was to reach the bank somehow and claim the money. I finally took another bus and somehow reached the bank. The lady, who was also Indian, greeted me and then told me she could not do the procedure to claim my money since it was 3:30 and the bank closed at 4 p.m. I hadn't gotten the money that my father sent me more than 2 days ago. I had a total of $100 in my Forex card. Apparently, the bus service stopped early since it was Saturday. Banks are closed on Sundays. I was way outside the main city, and so there aren't many taxi services. The cheapest Airbnb cost me $70 per night. If I booked an Airbnb, I wouldn't have money for the Uber ride. For the first time in my life, I couldn't think anymore. I sat at the corner of the bank, staring at my dying phone battery, wondering what I was doing all the way here on the other side of the planet, having left behind everyone who loved me and cared for me. I had everything back home. All my friends and family could never know that I would be so close to being homeless. The bank lady approached me at closing time and asked if everything was okay. She asked me if there's someone I could call or who could pick me up, and I said no. She then asked me if there was somewhere she could drop me, and I said no. She asked me to try to find somebody I could call. I scurried through my phone contacts to see if there was someone I could call and found this number of this lady I met the previous day at a government office who told me to call her if I ever got into trouble. I called her up and she gave me another number. I called him up and he didn't answer, but he gave me an address. And since I had some address and nothing more to lose, I told the bank lady that I have an address and she told me she would drop me there. I had no clue where I was going since the text message only contained a name and an address. She drove me and left me on the sidewalk. I went up to the door and knocked. This Indian guy opened the door and asked me what I wanted. I told him the name. He immediately asked me to come in. He went out and carried my luggage inside. There were 5 guys sitting and watching TV. I started explaining my situation and they asked me to sit down and relax. This other guy was making dosas and he got me a couple in a plate. Once I had eaten, I told them what had happened and they told me not to worry since I found them. They were insanely chill. We sat down and watched a movie, and right that evening, they took me around in their car and found a room for me that I could rent. And then they sat me down and explained to me everything I needed to know. I stayed there for another 2 days until I claimed my money and moved to the new place. I couldn't be more thankful, and it's amazing how it's always Indians who are truly there for me, even though I had never met them before. Later, I found out that my parents sensed that something was horribly wrong, even though I had told them nothing, and they hadn't been able to sleep for days until I showed them the room I was going to stay in. The rent situation in Canada is horrible since Canada has the most inflated and expensive housing market on the planet. I'm currently paying $500 a month for living in a hole in the basement of a house. There are 2 other guys living with me who have their own separate bedrooms since they pay more, and the 3 of us have a common bathroom and a common bedroom. All of this is in the basement of a house. It may sound pricey, but that is kind of the going rate after they got inflated due to the pandemic. Most Indian students here live in a sharing basis where they share a bedroom between 2 people that will cost each of them anywhere from $380 to $500 a month. And these rooms are most likely in basements along with other such rooms. So in a basement, there are often 2 to 6 students. I heard of this one rent offer where at the ground floor there were 8 guys living. On the first floor there were 10 guys living, and at the basement of a house there were 8 girls living. It cost around $350 for each person. This is the situation of Indian students in Canada. Let me know in the comments section below what you think is life in Canada for Indians like. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to Pakistani Immigrant Family in Canada. See you in the next video. Until then, take care and have a nice day. Bye.